Um, you know, you mentioned Chet Holmgren, barring incredible surprise. That's the last game of his college career. He's a projected. Where do you have him on your big board right now?
He's number 2 on the big board, number 1 in the mock right now.
Right. So
Like a
he'll be
guaranteed
gone.
top 3 guy for sure.
The interesting one is like Drew Timme,
Mhm.
because 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, with somebody like Drew Timme, you go, look, man, what else are you trying to do? You've been one of the best players in college basketball for 2 straight years. You've been on a 1 seed 2 straight years. You went to a Final Four. You played in a title game. It's time to get on with it. And I talked about this before. When in years past, you would say about a guy, hey, it's just time to get on with it. Like it's time for you to go make a paycheck, whatever that looks like. You would say that about guys like Drew Timme. Like, yeah, what else are you going to do in college basketball? It's time to go get paid, whatever that looks like. Well, for Drew Timme, whatever that looks like might not be the NBA. I mean, it might be. Like, would you have him getting selected if he entered the 2022 NBA draft?
Maybe like a late second round pick, like
Right.
almost like a Luka Garza last year. Like could
There
be
you go.
drafted, it might stick, but not a guy that's like a surefire. This guy's going to be a starter or even a rotation player in the NBA.
And honestly, like as a prospect, I think I'd go Luka Garza over Drew Timme, because at least Luka can like take that shot. Like
Yep.
Drew Timme is not, he's not a stretch anything right now. That's not who he is. Whereas Luka, between his was it junior and senior year? I lose track of did he spend 4 years in college? Between his junior and senior year, like he really developed that 3-point shot, and now he takes it in the NBA. I'm not like Drew might be that guy someday, I guess, but he's not that guy right now. So like Luka got drafted in the second round. Like I would take Luka Garza as a prospect over Drew Timme as a prospect.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to the NBA with name, image, and likeness rights, and this is my point, can you make more money at Gonzaga just being the face of the Zags once again? Maybe. And so yeah, I think more than ever, and this is a nightmare for the top 25 and 1 combined with the transfer portal, because you're trying to project on the night of the national championship game, like what people's rosters are going to look like. And in years past, like anybody who was a projected second round pick, you can kind of assume, with rare exceptions, they're just going to go. First round picks are going to go, and yes, second round picks are going to go. I think we got to a point a few years ago where I just sort of assumed anybody who's in the top 75 on a big board is probably going to enter the NBA draft and be done with college. Like Jared Harper was a good example of that after Auburn went to the Final Four. Time to just get on with it. But now, some of these guys who are projected in the second round, or maybe undrafted, like they could come back to school, make more money than they will be able to make professionally. And oh, by the way, how attractive is it going to play basketball in Europe right now? There's a war going on. So it's just a lot of stuff to think about. I guess what I'm saying is I don't know that Drew Timme's decision will be as clear cut as it might have been for a player like him 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
Yeah. And they were asked about this post game on Thursday night, and Mark Few quickly shut that down. He didn't want to discuss in the moment the futures of any of those players, including Drew Timme. But yeah, that will be a huge storyline, obviously, for the top 25 and 1. But Gonzaga could end up being a preseason top 5 team next year, maybe even if Timme does not return. We'll see what that roster looks like, but if Timme comes back, I mean, they're locked in as a guaranteed top 10 team, I would assume. So it's an interesting point. Timme is obviously the face of Gonzaga already. Was listening to a podcast earlier this week talking about how he's already got quite a bit of NIL deals that he's currently in, including I think the face of a casino in Spokane. So yeah, I mean, if he wanted to come back, I'm sure he could cash in and make a bunch of money again as the face of Gonzaga. That's an interesting one to watch this offseason.